Saturday Social is powered by EA Sports FIFA 23 with PlayStation.
Oh, right, we've done the predictions, the all-important predictions. It's now going to be focus all of our attention on England. As you can see, the Saturday Social whiteboard is out in all of its glory. And we've tasked our guests, quite tricky this, I think, to pick an England 11 that has the best chance of bringing the World Cup home. So it's not an England 11 for a specific game. It's an 11 that has the best chance of winning the World Cup. So first up, they've both given us their 11s. They don't know what each other have picked, but they've agreed on this 7. So both of our guests think these 7 players are nailed on to start for England. So let's talk about these players before we get into the disagreements. Firstly, my big question is formation. Nubaid, do you think England need to play 3 at the back, 3 central defenders if they have any chance to win the World Cup?
Yeah, 100%. I think I've spoken about this at such length, but when you've got that base in your team, with no disrespect to any of those players, you need to protect it, basically. And I think if England play a back 4 like they did against Hungary, you get absolutely battered. When they played Germany, the game was really open and too stretched. I think if you play a 2, who are your 2, especially considering who's gone? We've got Dyer, Cody, Maguire, Stones. You won't play Walker in a pair, so you kind of have Maguire and Stones, and I don't feel very safe with Maguire on his own without Walker next to him. And I think Walker has been huge for Southgate because he's almost been a bit of a cheat code. The ball goes over the top and he catches everything. So yeah, I don't feel like there's any way around that.
I'm going to throw a little bit of debate in there, is that this was a lot of topics at the start of the Euros, and then we went for every group stage game a back 4. Tyrone Mings started in the first game. Is there no way that you see Gareth Southgate lining up with a back 4 against Iran?
No, I think back 4 for the group stage. But, I mean, this is an 11
to win
when
it.
you get deeper and you want to win it, but
and the
100% against
increases.
Iran.
Like when we played against Germany and Italy and we shifted to the back 3.
Yeah.
Okay, should we talk about some of the
I think we should.
then?
I think we should. Pickford in goal, just a tap in, Nieve.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Does his tournament? No disagreements?
Yeah, no, he's a regular for Southgate.
Yeah, and worth pointing out as well, every time he puts on an England shirt, he always plays at such a great level, doesn't he? So he's England's number 1. Both gone with the same back 3. A lot of talk about Harry Maguire and his lack of game time for Manchester United this season, but of course we know that he is a regular under Gareth Southgate. Gareth Southgate speaks very highly of him.
And a lot of talk
and
about
it's
this
worth
now.
pointing out as well that he does, did have a great tournament for England as well. So just interested as to why you've gone with those 3, Niamh.
It's just that consistency, really. This is the back 3 we had in the World Cup, in the Euros, and took us to, very deep into 2 competitions. And it's about keeping that. I mean, Ben White is someone
Benjamin White.
Yeah, for me, personally, I think that Benjamin White, he should be there. If Kyle Walker's not there, that's where he'll be in the back 3. He'll be there in Kyle Walker's place. And Ben White as well, if it's a back 4, can play right back as well in that situation. So, yeah, but Ben White, I think, should feature at this World Cup.
Declan Rice as well, just nailed on. He's really the only defensive midfielder, obviously Calvin Phillips is as well, but that's fit and still playing at a top level.
Yeah, I think also he patrols that area on his own quite well. Even at West Ham, they've tinkered with the system a little bit, which allows him to sort of dominate that position. I think he's probably England's best option, even if Calvin Phillips is fit. And in my system, I only play with 1-6, so it was always Declan Rice.
And the front 2, so let's talk about Saka first. Great season he's having, isn't he? Do you think Southgate will start him? Because obviously he's in a position where there's a lot of competition for places. He's got a lot of strong options that he has. Do you think Southgate will start him?
I should do, considering, the minutes he got at the Euros when I'd say in Saka's own personal career and in terms of form going into it, he's even better now. So there's no reason for him not to start, in my opinion.
Yeah, and same for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think Southgate starts Sterling, to be honest. On one of the sides, I don't know if he starts Saka. I'm not that sure. Personally, I start Saka because I think for pure explosiveness, for probably one of the most in-form attackers in the country, he plays. But Sterling,
could you play both, Sterling and Saka, pace either side of Kane?
Personally, I don't like the balance of playing both. I quite like having someone on the other side who keeps the ball for longer periods. Whereas on this side, you have your more explosive sort of like one-on-one winger, but yeah, not Sterling for me.
Okay, and Harry Kane, of course, nailed on, England captain. How important is it that he stays fit, Harry Kane, if England have any chance to win it? Because, I mean, he's such a crucial player for England, isn't he?
100%. I mean, we saw that at the World Cup in 2018 when you could argue our squad was maybe not as good as this one and at the Euros, but we had that world-class centre-forward that helped us.
He just needs to stay in the box. Right.
Positionally.
As much as I love Harry Kane, the footballer, for England, the problem we're going to have playing a back 5 is you need your striker to play in the box. Harry Kane will end up playing holding midfield with Rice, and then what we're doing.
Yeah. And of course, neither of you mentioned him for the Golden Boot. You talk about the player's Golden Boot. Do you think he'll be in and amongst it? Because he is the reigning Golden Boot holder in the World Cup, of course.
How many pens and set pieces do we get?
Yeah, literally. That's why I couldn't choose, because I think the Iran game will be tight, Wales game will be tight, USA, that's the 3 easiest games.
You think it's a tough group, this, don't you, for England?
Yeah, because I just think all the teams that England come up against have their own qualities, and also it's completely different weather conditions. I don't know if people at home have seen the video of the players getting this fan thrown in their face. So I just think the World Cup is never easy. I think that the perception we have as England fans is like we'll beat Iran 4-0. My good friend James Alcott seems to think that's going to happen, but not for me.
Poor James Alcott. He's not been able to defend himself.
Catching strays on the show.
He watches the show all the time.
Catching strays. Let's go to some of your disagreements then. Let's start a right wing back, where I know that there's a bit of debate already on the studio. Who have you gone for, Nubaid?
I've gone for Mr. Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Nieve?
I've gone for Berry lad, Kieran Trippier.
Trippier versus Trent. Okay, why Trent?
I believe they can both coexist, which is why I don't really want the argument. Nieve's dangerous. No, I think when you play a back 5, you need creativity in your system. I think when you've got Walker playing behind whoever your right wing back is, you've always got a security blanket there, and he's really good in wide areas naturally because he's a right back. Yeah. And then if you've got someone like Trent from deep, you can supply Kane a lot easier. I think Kane actually benefits from having wing backs or full backs that can play balls into dangerous areas. Then you've got Saka in front of him who'll come inside or hang wide. I think it's just, I feel the team is now made for Trent, mainly because of the injuries they've had. If you offered me Reece James, I probably would have played Reece James because he's safer. Yeah. But Trent for me, if you want to win, then you go with this guy.
You're going Trippier on the right.
Yeah, I've gone with Trippier because, I think he does offer creativity himself. We've seen what he's done at Newcastle. Not just that, look at what he's done for Almiron at Newcastle, being that fullback, and I think he can do that for Saka as well. So in terms of facilitating the players in front of him, I actually think in terms of his leadership value as well, I look at Trippier as genuinely not that far behind Declan Rice and Harry Kane as a player that, regardless of back 4, back 5, he's there. He's one of the first names on the team sheet.
Has been brilliant this season, hasn't he? Created more goal-scoring chances in the Premier League this season than any other Englishman or defender. It's been brilliant in many people's team of the season so far as well.
And he's also in your team as well, isn't he?
Yeah,
Let's make this clear.
So I put him at left wing back. I just think he's played there under Simeone and done a really good job. He's played there under Southgate as well, to be fair.
Yeah, he has.
And I don't think Luke Shaw showing the form this season in the league, or even to be fair when he's played for England, to guarantee himself a start there. I think Shaw's best time playing for England was at left centre-back for a number of games. So I would personally play Trippier off the opposite side, play Trent off this side. You've got 2 creative hubs. Let Trippier tuck in when the opposition has the ball so you can play a back 4 and let Trent go and do his thing.
Yeah, should we combine it then?
Shaw has been great though. I'm just putting forward a bit of defence for Luke Shaw here as a Manchester United fan for England. I think 7 goal involvements in his last 11 competitive games. He especially think back to that.
But I don't think he's going to play in that way for England, because if he's playing in this back 5, he's probably going to be expected to.
So that was last 7 in his last 11 England games as well. So he
great at the Euros, wasn't he?
He was amazing at the Euros. But
should we combine the 2 fullbacks chat then? So just to confirm.
Okay.
You do want Trippier in your team, but at left wing back. Niamh, you've gone for, I presume, Luke Shaw then.
I've got Luke Shaw.
Why have you gone Shaw?
Because, as you say, what he's done for England when he's played in that left wing back role. To be fair, if it was a back 4, I would agree with you that I'd put Trippier on the left, he'd be the left back, and then I'd have, probably Kyle Walker right back. So, defensively, I can understand your point of view, but we've seen him play left wing back for England, and I don't want to miss out on that.
Do you oppose Trent? Is that part of the reason you really want Shaw? Because you just put a back 4 in and still didn't have Trent in there.
Yeah, to be fair, I like the idea of Trent because, if you've not got a back 4, then you've not got someone like Mason Mount in behind to sort of create from deep. So you could look at Trent at being the person that creates from deep 100% with sort of his range passing and stuff. So it is an option. I don't disregard Trent at all, and it's actually quite funny. Both of these I'd be quite happy with.
So could we go for a little bit of compromise?
Yeah.
We need an agreement. We need a magnet on there.
Okay, go Trippier left wing back then, Niamh.
I'm a good guy.
Okay, so Trippier left wing back. Do you know what? It is one of those decisions that's going to be tough for Gareth Southgate, that right wing back or right back position, because there are so many great options. We didn't even speak about Ben White either, I've got to say as well. He's having a brilliant season.
We spoke about him a bit. Let's go to the midfield then, shall we? Who's partner in Declan Rice?
Oh boy, here we go. I'm going to upset a lot of people, but just bear with me, please. I'm not playing 2 6s.
So you're not playing Jude Bellingham?
You're playing...
No, I'm not.
Wow.
No Jude?
No. I'm playing Maddison in front of Rice because I think... I did a coaching badge recently, and they were talking about when you attack, you should attack in a 6 and a 4. But when you play with 2 6s, England play in a 7 and a 3. And I think part of the reason for that is because you play with 2 6s, obviously Bellingham will get forward, but it won't be as frequent as Maddison, say. That's the first reason. The second part of the reason is England don't have like someone who can do something at the blink of an eye. Someone who almost has a mind of his own, like Maddison does. I don't know if he'll be allowed to play that way for England naturally, but I think you can give him the ball and go win us a game. Go do something in a difficult situation. And the way the World Cup is, it's settled on moments, and this guy thrives in moments. So get James Maddison in this team.
Did you see that, Niamh? Maddison played just in front of Declan.
No.
It's a lot of work for Declan Rice to get
You've got to get yourself Bellingham in there. And the reason why you've got to get yourself Bellingham in there is because you look at the approaches that we've taken to international tournaments, the Euros, obviously we had Rice and Phillips. We can't just suddenly have Declan Rice and James Maddison. We can't just suddenly go from that to this. I mean, it's so reliant as well, having Maddison. It's so reliant on Kyle Walker actually being there and having him as that last defender with that pace. And also coming back from injury, and he's had a groin injury, being able to actually have that cheat code. You know, he's a little bit older now than he was at the Euros. He keeps having injury.
He's fine.
Way too. I mean, if you can have Trent as well, I mean, how many risks do you want to take, Nubaid?
Yeah, but this is a kind of a risk, but you got Walker there. This is an ever so slight risk, but I think just purely because of how the World Cup is decided, England, if they play with like essentially 7 defenders, they're not going to go far.
Thing is, I want to talk about Jude Bellingham as well, because I know you said you prefer Maddison going forward, but he's been so effective for Dortmund in those forward areas this season. I think it's 4 and 5 in the Champions League, isn't it? Do you not think he could do that, getting in late to the box?
He could, but I think the way Southgate would play him, as we've seen in a double pivot, doesn't suit him. And I know, I think a lot of the comments after the games were Jude was the best player on the pitch because he's techie and also he bombs up and down. But then my thing is, in that Germany game in particular, and the Italy game, there were holes behind him all the time. I think the better teams will take advantage of that. And that's not his fault. That's a systematic thing. I think if you play a different system, Jude is one of the first names on the sheet. But
all right, we got to decide. I'm not going to lie, I'm deciding with Jude.
Yeah, I think it's more likely to be Jude. I think
get Jude
and Declan
I
as a midfield
couldn't possibly
two.
put Maddison in an 11 just like that as well, by the way, because I mean, the second you start Maddison, if you start Maddison straight away, I think you're going to create way too much noise at this World Cup. And I think it'd be a huge risk if Southgate gets Maddison in. You look at Grealish, the noise around him at the Euros, everyone's like, oh, he needs to play. And then when he did play, I mean, he was good, but what did he really do?
Do you want England to win?
We're in. He's on. Jude's on. So let's look at the last player, because there's some big names not in this team currently. Yeah. So who have you gone with for your last player?
Who have you gone with?
I've gone with Jack Grealish. I think he's actually had a pretty good season this season. I feel people have been a little bit critical of him because of his comments around Miguel Almiron. Yeah. But I think generally what he's done for Pep Guardiola and City has been pretty consistent. I also think if we're playing this side, and obviously my side had Maddison in it, but even in this side, I think you need someone against those sides like Iran, USA, Wales, even in the latter stages, someone who keeps hold of the ball in that final third. The best sides can suffocate you, and I think Grealish can keep hold of the ball, he'll win you fouls, he'll get you more set pieces, and that is Southgate in England's game.
Niamh, you disagree? You've gone with, looks like Phil Foden.
Yeah, Phil Foden, because I don't think you can keep Phil Foden out, if I'm completely honest. He's that sort of excitement and calibre of player. And actually, I mean, looking at this team now, more than ever, I'd want Phil Foden because he can pick up the ball deep and affect the play from deep, but also he can get in behind as well. We've seen him do it at Man City and get in the box too. So I think he offers just a little bit more to his attacking game than Grealish.
OK, need a decision. It's down to me and you.
I'm going to what's coming.
Should we go with what we think is more likely then for the team?
I actually think Grealish is a better impact player. I do. I just think, as we saw at the Euros, I think he's an amazing player to bring off the bench, whereas I think Phil Foden controls the ball a little bit more in those sort of areas.
Start as well. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's also. I would personally have started Raheem Sterling.
I was going to say two big omissions for me: Raheem Sterling and Mason Mount. We haven't been talking about Mason Mount, who features a lot.
Get your opinions in at home. Get your opinions in at home as well. Yeah, stick Phil Foden up for now, but let's get your opinions in at home because we've got a bit of a battle there.
A tough one, that Foden and Grealish, but you're going with Foden.
Some sort of behind-the-scenes stuff for people. I compromised by doing a back three in general because I originally wanted to do a back four in which Mason Mount gets in. So I think it's only right.
Yeah, OK, there we go. Well, let us know what you think at home. That is the confirmation of our England team that's likely to bring it home. Let us know what you think.